Hello lads, how's it going? Hope everyone is good today. We're going to be running through a new Gandalf the Grey guide. This is going to be Ultimate Gandalf the Grey guide. I did a video originally on Gandalf the Grey in Season 1. I'm not happy with the quality of that video, so here we are today, revamping it, my full-on Gandalf the Grey guide that hopefully is going to be here forever until they maybe change something key with him. Everything's going to be time-stamped within this video as well, so feel free to have a look across the bottom, jump to where you need, whether it be a build versus evil, build versus good, maybe you want some item information, or maybe you just want all that detail on the skills. We're going to talk through all the skills, how you use them, what good situations they are, bad situations, etc. And the other last thing we're going to be covering is the army composition that I like to use and I feel is the best output for Gandalf the Grey. So yeah, sit back and enjoy the fun. First thing we're going to be running through is the weapons, armor, helmet and accessory. The items. I'm going to run through sort of one or two options, three options max, I believe are going to be best in slot. First up, we're going to talk about weapons, and we have the Noldor sword. The Noldor sword, everything you focus on with items, a general rule with Gandalf is you want to have might and focus. Okay, focus is key stat. Is best thing to do is damage reduction, and focus does exactly that. Might, however, it does lack on, so anything you can get on items really does give him a boost in damage output, which is key for making anything happen in Gandalf, which I'll talk through during the whole video. So Noldor sword is absolutely great. I find the sweet spot on Noldor sword of being 3-star and 3 refined. After that you go into absolute whale territory. You get your +2 on the men and elves, so it lets you to use Dunedains, it lets you use archers. Everything gets covered in this, which is absolutely awesome. And the mind split, a 50% chance of doing 160% focus. That ends up being about 10 to 15k extra focus damage. So really, really great item. Other options are, I believe, on Mirkwood Bow. Yes, it hasn't got any focus, but it does have great might. And it does give army attack. I would carry out ranged might with this one. To do extra damage. Great item there, no problem with that. The third option is the Carver. Carver gives you, like I said before, might and focus, and it's great for army attack. This is a better item if you aren't using Lothlorien, because chances are you're going to be fighting Loth and Linden, at which point you'll be running full Dunedain comps with Gandalf. So absolutely awesome to have Carver in there if you're running Dunedains. I use the smite for the extra focus damage as well on that one. So that's the weapons. 3 choices there. I believe the best. On to armor. I believe on this one there's only one choice. I don't think there's any better choice in terms of value and sort of best in slot. You get might, you get focus, you get army defense, and you get damage reduction with the scale mail. Scale mail's amazing. I love scale mail. I've used it from the start. I would use it always. I don't recommend you need it to 5-star and 5 refinement. It doesn't scale well. You're using absolutely tons of items to get it there. So I think this is a really great sweet spot, and scale mail, there's nothing bad out there. Like I said though, as long as you have might and focus in the choices, you're going to in the option that you have, maybe season 1 for you. Might and focus is your focus. With defense, boost is great as well. On to the helmet. Now this is quite a funny one really. I'm using here Trapper's Hood with Hysteria. Now this is a hood, a helmet that's used for many commanders, and people say it's one of the best in slot for it. The problem with it is that first round there's a high chance that the madness lands on one of Gandalf's stun targets. What that means is that you're not going to get the full effect of the madness in the first couple of rounds. So I'm not sure about this. I don't see this going off many times at all. I really don't see it happening loads and loads. So it's not huge for me. However, many people do recommend this, which is why I've thrown it in the options and why I currently use it. I will be swapping this into Haldir after this video, and Gandalf will be getting something else. Other options for Gandalf is best in slot in my eyes is the Cask of the Submerged Isle, and it's with the effect of Aegis. Aegis gives you madness and stun immunity, and Gandalf has 0 effect sort of control, so he doesn't stop stuns, he doesn't stop madness. So Aegis on the Cask of Surmile is absolutely awesome. Might, focus, speed, amazing item, and probably the best item for many commanders out there is that. Other options that you can use is the Bone Mask with Hysteria, so very similar madness with Bone Mask. It gives you might and focus, and it gives you HP instead. And the last one, which is probably an argument for possibly best in slot for Gandalf, is the Grey Wizard's Hat. Now the Grey Wizard's Hat has a massive, where are you? If you go here, we go Grey Wizard's Hat. It's a massive focus, gives you army HP, and it has an effect that removes status problems, so madness, etc., every 3 turns with a bonus heal on that as well. Really great item is that Grey Wizard Hat. I see again some people using the, I've just seen on Patty, which is why I mentioned it, the Swan Helm. This is okay as well, but it's not in my sort of top 3 list. On to last option is the accessory. Now the thing is, it might surprise you on this one, many people use the worn out smoking pipe with sustain. Now if that's what your option is and you've not got loads of items to choose from, then feel free to do that with Gandalf. What I'll talk you through shortly though with the build and all of these skills is that I believe Gandalf and his healing is overrated. I don't believe Gandalf's heals are good at all, and actually all my builds don't include healing anymore. I don't like it, I don't think he's good, and I'll talk you through that and the abilities. It does give you a very good focus though, and does give a very good heal at max refinement, so one that's making about is one of those options. However, I believe the better option is the Wizard Firework. This Wizard's Firework is amazing. It has a high focus, it increases your army attack with your ranged units, and it has 2 great effects. One of them just increases your range damage, and the other one is Bane of Mounted Units. Now this makes it a fight versus something like a Theoden absolutely insane. Now I would run you through a battle report to show that today, but because my voice is gone and I had the coronavirus, I've not got any of those. They're all expired. But I can tell you now, it has a great fight. I can win versus Theodens with my Gandalf the Grey with using these items. And it is insane, and I absolutely love it. So my recommendation is hugely the Wizard's Firework. You will not get a better item in my eyes. Focus, range attack, and you know what? Let's smash those cavalry that are currently meta. You make Gandalf worthwhile when you do this. So 100% recommend it. So let's go on to the skills, the best bit about Gandalf. I'm going to run through the PVE build first. I wasn't going to run through a PVE build, but I realised that what it do if I cover this, it allows me to talk through pretty much every skill I have, which is amazing. So I've covered this in there as well, and we can talk through all the skills as we do it. You'll see I'm going full the Grey. Against PvE, you'll usually fight only 2 units or 1 unit in the opposing army. Okay, sometimes there's 3, don't be wrong, but there's a lot of chances of 1s and 2s compared to PvP. What that means is with your constant stuns and your opening stuns and your constant heals, the damage that you get from PvE is very gradual. Okay, what that means with someone like Gandalf, who's got a really nice gradual healing, is it gets the healing throughout. You're not missing out on much, to be honest. So, honestly, the Grey is great for PvE. Blindside, you need at least 1 point in. Okay, the damage you get from this isn't huge, so 1 point is probably all you need on Gandalf. He focuses on damage, damage reduction, so control stuff like this, like Blindside, what stuns every 3 turns. Amazing skill to take, and you definitely need to take it in your PvE build. What else do you need to take? You need to take Mithrandir, of course. First 4 rounds, minus 11% damage, and it scales with focus. You're probably getting 25% plus on this. Like 20-25% once you've got all the focus adjustment in there. Amazing thing to use. It also gives you avoidance for the first instance of damage in battle, and again against PvE. That is amazing. There's not loads of counter avoidance out there in PvE. People aren't building for this stuff, so avoidance is amazing, and I really recommend it if you're going PvE. What have I got here? I've got three peoples. I'm putting points into this because I've got spare points. This is my last choice on this whole build in PvE. So if you haven't got the points, then avoid free peoples. I also, it's a key point to mention on this at the moment, is to get the most out of your Gandalf, you require him to be respect 5. Put a lot of effort into doing that in season 1 and 2. It pays dividends by taking the White Council tree. It gives you a massive Witch King counter. So you get him to respect 5 before you start doing much anything else with any other tier 2s. It's really key you do that, and it does pay dividends by doing it. Talking about the ones that are important, Convener. Convener's awesome. First 2 rounds, all units get initiative. You want at least 1 point into this to get the initiative on your attacks. However, the 75% chance of follow-up is amazing, absolutely insane. And it's one of your main damage output sort of skills on here to increase your damage. For PvE, hitting them in the first couple of rounds while you've got avoidance up, and it really does reduce that damage you're going to be taking for the rest of the fight. Another key bit about PvE and Gandalf is Wizard taking 2 points and 1 point in Surge. So let's talk about the Grey in this aspect. Remember, the Grey deals, after you deal damage on any occurrence, you get a chance of recovering HP. That means it can trigger on Blindside. That means it can trigger on Surge twice. And it means it can open on your weapon as well. And every normal attack you do, which is each round anyway. So it's really key to get single points in stuff like Blindside and Surge. And to be able to do that, you want to put 2 points in Wizard to get that. Wizard is also absolutely amazing. You can actually run builds with Wizard, and both my good and evil PvP builds contain it. So I'll run through a little more about that in a second. But you do get 2 stuns. 2 enemy units are stunned, and you drop their defense slightly. So at least put 1 point in it, but I recommend putting 2 and 1 point in Surge to increase those heals as well. The last one is White Council to talk about. You get a load of damage reduction in the first 3 instances, well, first 4 when you max it out, of receiving damage on your units. This means that if they can avoid all the sort of damage in the first 5 rounds, say it hits a certain other unit, that unit then still gets the damage reduction. Whereas Mithrandir, it doesn't matter what, it matters only the first 4 rounds, not further on the fight. So these 2 together work very well. White Council, however, it gives you a 32% damage reduction once you take into account the sort of like the focus boost from this. For the extra focus you do end up with 32% reduction. That is taking into account the items I've got, okay, which is quite wailed out, but by season 3 you could definitely have these items. The last point I do take is Champion of the Light, which gives you damage to orcs, Uruk-hai and trolls. If you're fighting against good factions and they have taken all their tiles and you're killing them, then don't take this. You don't need it. You'll be able to take the fleeting movements instead, because you'll be fighting good units and this will be useless. If those units, however, if you're in, for example, a good faction though, and you're fighting a land that's got no enemies that have taken it already, then you'll be fighting evil units, and this is a key skill to take. Let me know what you think of my PvE build. Would you change anything in it? If you want to feedback any other builds on these as well, do let us know in the comment section below. Share your information. Knowledge is power. What have missed, what have not talked about in the PvE build that you think is really key to cover? I'm going to run over to the good build now. Give a second. We're on to the good PvP build here, and you're looking at this and people are going, oh my god, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? Why is his heals gone? He needs heals. You don't need the heals. The heals are crap. Let's cover that right now. The heals are rubbish on Gandalf. I don't rate them at all. You get from the Grey, and when you max it, you get a 50% chance of recovering 100% HP for 15 points of skills. Okay, 15 points into this. What that ends up resulting in is around about 30,000 healing now. Okay, and that's with a weapon that has a 50% chance of proccing the heals as well. Okay, well, it's not worth it. You don't get it. 30,000 healing, and then you take a sustain, for example, on your smoking pipe, and that gives around about 10 to 15k for an item where versus a full branch of skills into Grey. I do not rate it. I do not run healing anymore on Gandalf apart from in PvE. I'm going to say no more of it, and we'll end it there. You can argue to take fleeting movements instead of free peoples. However, I choose the constant damage reduction versus people trying to get past the evades. I think this is much better. This doesn't kick in till sort of round 3. So therefore, for me, free peoples is great for that damage reduction in the first rounds of the fight, which is why I take it. We've already talked about Mithrandir, so I'm not going to cover that again. Let's talk about the wizard then. Okay. Enemy defense minus 50 when we've maxed it. Okay, that's a flat 50. Okay, that can be huge. That can be absolutely huge. For people who are well built, etc., the chances are this is going to result in probably halving their defense, if not more. Okay, unless there's some crazy dwarven guy. But really, you're going to be taking away about half their defense. This results in, using Convener as well, with the first 2 rounds when that defense has dropped, a huge damage output in those first couple of rounds. I haven't got loads. I wish I had the report here from last week that against Rowan. I'd love to show you these, but I can't show you. They're sort of like, I'm dead on them. I've got absolutely nailed on them. I mean, what am I talking about? I'm not dead on him at all. I've won. I nailed on it. I won this. I smashed it. But it's expired because I've had coronavirus and I've not been able to record. We are where we are. It's fine. I'm going to show you versus a Gandalf. This is a healing Gandalf. You'll see here it'll be my Sentinels that have absolutely annihilated. Yeah, Sentinels have the best damage output for me. You can, instead of the March Warden, you can use more Sentinels. You can maybe run Dunedains instead, and I'll run through the army composition shortly. But you'll see here on the stats, what's he done? He's got some, let's have a look. Healing 42,000. Woo! Well, so what? I've just smashed, absolutely smash you. I've dropped your defense, and I've hit probably extra 42 in the first couple of rounds. Okay, absolutely huge. Drop his defense, absolutely annihilating. I bet he doesn't run it. He runs healing, doesn't he? Full healing, full Mithrandir. Barely touches this. It's the same as my PVE build. He runs my PVE build. He's got a mend on the wizard firework. Hysteria max for 100% chance. So that will have actually kicked off on some of mine. Could have really hurt me as well. And max superior orbit, which is crazy. But yeah, you see the result. I win. I've done a better job there. He is max, by the way. You'll see he is only missing 6, 4, and 4. 6, 4, and 24, so a little bit there. But yeah, take your wizard instead. Take your wizard instead. It's so much better than the healing. Take a snapshot. Run this against a big cav army, against good, whatever you want to do. Take these items and tell me you do not regret taking that build rather than your silly healing one. I've said everything else about this, about sort of these stats already, so let's run through sort of the evil PvP build, and yeah, let me know how this one goes for you. On to the evil build then. You'll see here the biggest difference is a very clear skill here. This one right there, that right there, high alert. This is, you can't go into evil PvP without this. okay, you're going to run into a Witch King. You're going to run into a Witch King. It is going to happen. He's going to have 5,000 alchemists on there with like 20 trolls because, and he's going to blow you up. He's going to blow you up. If you have this, it reduces that damage absolutely massively. Actually gives you a fair fight against him. Okay, everything else is very, very similar. We've taken my spare points into Champion of the Light instead of Free People's. The actual argument of why I've maxed Wizard is for the plus 15. But to be honest, you could probably drop a few points out of this and max in Champion of the Light for that extra damage output anyway that lasts all rounds. My argument here, though, is that we're really, really key of doing damage in the first 2 rounds while you've got the defense down, while you've got the double attack. It's really, really key to do as much damage as possible to reduce the damage later on in the fight. Bring their numbers down. And that's why I would take this build for my anti-evil. What do you run for your anti-evil build? What do you think you would change? Would you take, for example, the fleeting movements? To be honest with evil, though, you're already dead. By round 3 and 4, you're already hurting pretty damn bad way against evil. So personally, that's why I like to... I don't take the fleeting movements instead, especially when we haven't got the healing to take us back up anyway. I do wham bam thank you ma'am with this build. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Army composition. Okay. With Gandalf, army composition is everything for me. There's an argument, and you'll find a lot of people that run Gandalf with maybe 3,000 guards or something. No. You want a front line, okay? A front line of some kind to defend you. I love Swan Knights with Gandalf, okay? Swan Knights on Gondor are awesome. Take 600, 700 of them, and they are a massive fat front line for all of your damaging units. So I'm going to take an example of guards. We're against Rowan, for example, so absolutely makes sense to take guards of the tower for the reduction in damage from the mounted units and also bonus damage against them. Also another sort of like reduction in damage there as well. Makes the most sense for me of guards of the tower versus someone like Rowan. If you're against someone like Evil or something like that, then chances are you want to run something like Cataphract instead. The point I'm always making on this, though, is you want that front line. And you don't choose many of them. I'm using 1500 in PvP. I'm then going to support that with whatever I need. Okay? Of just damage. Bow Knights, March Warden, Sentinels, Sharpshooters, whatever I need to counter the opposing army. I'm still only going to run a few units in this front line. In PvE, I drop that down even lower. I usually run Cataphracts because then I can just drop it down. I run maybe sort of like 300 of them, usually. And then I max out my army composition. The reason for it, again, is, do you know the build I was talking about that drops the defense and double attack in the first 2 turns? It all needs damage output. So why are you wasting your time putting more of a front line through? There's no reason for it. You don't benefit from it. Instead, focus on absolutely annihilating that PvE army in the first couple of rounds. In PvP, it's very different. You do have to bring them up a little bit. I usually run around about 800 of them. And then again, I'll chop and change this for whatever I need. You'll actually find me, and I don't think have I got Dunedains in here? I've actually not got Dunedains in here, which is quite annoying that I've done that. But I'm going to use the example of a ranger. We'd run exactly the same here. So instead of 3,000 rangers, I'd maybe drop this down to... I'd run probably, if I was using the Dunedains, I'd drop Ram Riders in as well. So drop Ram Riders to drop the defences a little bit. We'll do some Cataphracts on the usual tank that we said before. And then what would we do? Well, we drop a bazillion, literally many, 5,000 Dunedains. Just drop them in there and annihilate your opponents. Honestly, they'll cut straight to the back of the units. They'll go straight for those archers who are soft. And the double attack with 5,000 of them will absolutely annihilate your opponents. Okay, I promise you it happens. Again, running back to that example that I had, I'll run through some examples of PVE if you'd like, just on the sort of my examples of where I believe my sort of build that I have. You'll see here that we're running at 1500. I'm not taking it seriously, but I'll put everything I can into those first attacks kind of thing. We've got 200 here, mobs. That's against that. But yeah, I recommend fully. Here we go, the 200s. Absolutely annihilate your opponents. Don't need any time for healing because you're going to absolutely annihilate them. So definitely run with a small front line and then absolutely obliterate them with loads and loads of archers, your tier 4s, Dunedains for anti-archers, whatever you need to do. It makes all of your units cheap. It makes your fights that you're having cheap, and you're going to get some damage done. Okay, you can run with more, but you're going to sit there like a wall. You're going to sit there like a wall. No one's going to hurt you. Do some damage. Gandalf is rubbish at doing damage. Well, my builds are good at doing damage. They have plenty of examples of doing good damage. Let's run through dead quickly on some of these. Let's see what else I've got in here. I got smashed by a big King of Aragorn. Like, don't be wrong, this is like overkill, like death. We ain't going to be killing something like this with a Gandalf. It's really, really difficult. But you've got one here, Eowyn. It's quite an average Eowyn, to be fair. But again, quite cheap army. 1800 marshals. Usually you would get hurt on this one. He's probably got anti-stun, so we've not stunned them. But you know what? We're hitting hard, so we go straight through his bullshit, and we hit him. We've got a Whale Gandalf the White here. Not a bad fight on Whale. That's a super Whale Gandalf the White, like crazy. We've done a good job. We've done our damage, and we ain't going to be walking away like that. We ain't. If you took healing instead, you will not be walking away with this many units and this many dead on this side. Use my build, see what you think. Let me know if you like it, if you hate it. Take cheap units, and honestly, you'll be doing wonders against people, and you'll be surprised how good it goes. What do you think of my guide today? Do you think it's completely wrong? Do you hate it? I've been doing loads of testing, and this is what I've come out with. I wanted to share the information. I didn't like my first guide. I feel this is much better, much more informative, and someone who's knowledgeable of 3 seasons worth of gaming rather than 1 season of not understanding what the hell is going on. If you like, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I shall see you again soon. Laters.